The tactical system of the national team is usually relatively simple, because the national team coach, time spent each year training with players. Just a few short weeks. Therefore, most coaches will rely on the formation familiar to the players. Tactical principles between contrast and, in the Japanese national team, Mori took a completely different fleet. He did not choose the safest way of thinking, the most conservative plan. They created this World Cup, the most complex we are likely to see. One of the most ingenious tactical systems. The current Japanese team, blurring position football, the boundaries between relationship football, their local number advantage. It always seems to come out of nowhere. The players are constantly moving their bearings on the field. An attack. They can even have 7 players appear in the restricted area at the same time. The Japanese team uses the 3421 formation in the actual game. Their infrastructure will show more 325. The 2 mutant sites occupy an extremely high space and are very wide. Directly suppress the opposing fullback. If the opponent's defense is high, they pass these very frequently, find the space behind each other. And if the opponent does not adopt a high line of defense, then they are between the opponent's defense and midfield. Create a huge neutral, and complete the advance through the middle. When organizing in the backcourt, they don't seem to have a fixed formation structure, but one core principle remains constant. That is to make sure you are in the backcourt, the advantage in numbers. If you face 2 forwards, the Japanese team may adopt a 3-1 defensive structure. Facing 3 forwards, they might adopt 3+2 again. If you encounter high-intensity compression, then compile to even further fallback. Participate in the ball. In the game against England, you can see a perfect example of this way of shooting. Goalkeeper Suzuki Swallow eats ball. England did not choose to actively oppress at this time, but the Japanese team is still rotating. But England is struggling to decide who to block. Since there are only 2 front court players in England, players participate in defense. Therefore, Japan has an additional number of people. It can push more players to the front court. Therefore, we saw left center back Yoshiki Ito press forward, and the back is connected to the sky and the earth retreats. Form a new 3-back defense, just through this one rotation. The backcourt structure of the Japanese team has changed from 3-2 to 3-1. As England players start to hit the shelves, the lower back is back in midfield, and the left center returns to its original defensive zone. Is that so? The Japanese team can still maintain the advantage of adding 2. Let's look at what happens on the right-hand side. In this case, Gordon should have continued to press forward, but he hesitated. This is because the right inner seal, Yudonchun, has also been pulled to the side. This means that left guard O'Reilly will face both editing Atang and Green and Yudong Junye, so it was actually very difficult for England to continue to oppress. They can only get it as a whole. Then the Japanese team moved the ball to the other side. The matter of Rogers against the left center back on the wall. It's already a beat slower. And this left center back, it just pushed the nanosphere into midfield. The Japanese team immediately took advantage of the opponent's defense. The space in the middle of the time difference was instantly opened. Catch chance for Sanchin Smokefire. As they began to advance, we see another Don Onryan on the right, received middle, because the inner seal has already occupied the side road position. With this rotation, the Japanese team quickly advanced to the opponent's offensive third zone. Ultimately, 5 players were formed. The situation of entering the restricted area at the same time, and even the later ordered Isidol was completely unmarked. They have this kind of fluid weighting structure. No wonder. Even against England and Pakistan, traditional strong teams like the West Japan team can still control the pace of the game for a long time, and often see the whole team. Almost all the scenes of the opposing half. And the defenders are struggling with all kinds of hemming and local headcount advantage, and these local people are overloaded. This is the Japanese team, more than the vast majority, the second core factor for a more dynamic national team, just after entering the opposing half. To really showcase this team, the most charming place, the video mentioned earlier, Their infrastructure is usually 3,421 or 325. And this is them. The basic form of launching an attack. Between the two back waists, there is a key rotation. Instantly changes the whole body shape, although they were initially on the same level. But very frequently it becomes a vertical position, or one of them, forward between midfield and defense. No matter which side of the rib area has an empty crotch, they can all be occupied at any time. So, the team structure will be changed to 3,133, and many times it will become 3,124. This change can bring about several pulls. Its important effects. First of all, the 4 people in the front court are directly pressed on the opponent's defense. This forces the opponent's defense to withdraw, and the 2 midfielders who are missing out. It created a huge problem for the opposing midfield. If the opposing midfield retreats too deeply, the Japanese team can easily control the midfield area. If you continue to press forward, then a pass through the defense, it's enough to rip apart the entire defensive structure in an instant. For example, in this picture, the Japanese team successfully opened the opposing midfield and the distance between the backline. It's then passed through a quick corner pass to center. Then a large number of players rush forward, attack directly from the middle. Or the clip from the game against Scotland. 2 players took the initiative to withdraw. Take the opposing midfielder out of the defensive position, so that behind the opponent's defense, create a huge space. Second and most important point. This structure allows the Japanese team to quickly numerical advantage on either side of the road, because when the ball moves to the wing, here are 2 back waists and an inseam. The center can also move laterally closer, plus a translator. At the same time, the inner seal on the other side is inserted forward, threatening the space behind the opponent. From the side ectopic, continue to open the width of the field. Sometimes even more players can be seen. Move closer to this side, especially players like Hideo Kuyoshi, although it appears to start from the right side. But he hesitated almost freely throughout the front court. Come to these rib spaces often to catch the ball. In the recent game against Iceland, to be able to see this structure for a long time, here are 2 back waists and 2 inner seals. Form a 313 organizational framework, plus the square box structure in the middle, and the 2 players responsible for pulling the width of the formation. However, in most cases, what you see is the team moving the ball to the wing. 6 players in a short time. Concentrate on the same side of the half. Leave the player on the other side completely vacant, waiting for transfer. And the goal against Scotland. More. It is a condensation of all the tactical characteristics of the Japanese team. The team made a breakthrough from the middle. Move to the left. When left means take the ball and move forward. Middle left, complete quickly, plug it in sideways. The latter randomly enters the internal scenic spot on the left after receiving the ball. Then take advantage of the trend and hit the middle road. The Japanese team ended up with 7 players. Complete the goal by entering the penalty area at the same time. But the funniest part of, or do they just take advantage of these local overloads? When the breakthrough is completed, here it is, we can see a lot of relationship football principles. For example, boat running coordination. 2 countries and 1 wall is cooperation. The latter is a continuous fit, and forward oblique passing. Or maybe a player missed the ball on purpose. Then engage in the attack again later. And in these moments, position football has completely lost its significance. The team's only goal becomes constantly creating passing lines for the ball handler. Every time you complete a pass, players will immediately run to the new space. But there is one more detail that must be mentioned at the end of the video. That was their first defensive discipline. And when the Japanese team completed the steal, they are again in the world, one of the fastest converting teams. Once the opponent passes the ball forward, never allow the catcher to turn around. The opponent can only be forced to return to the ship, and this foot back to the boat. It was the trigger for Japan's collective oppression. Okay, and when they retreated to half-court defense, midway protection and its compactness, take the initiative to drive the opponent to the side. Then quickly move forward to block.